Sometimes you need to get away from reps and sets, you need to start to challenge your mind in your workout, and you need to have a little bit of fun. And that's where an innovation on the market, something a little bit different from dumbbells and kettlebells, something called the Blaze Pods comes in. Now Blaze Pods are gonna change up your workout, but are they worth the space in your gym bag, and are they worth the time of setup and the tech innovation? We're gonna check it out. I'm Ebenezer Samuel, the fitness director here at Men's Health. In each episode of MH Strong, I'll be joined by a fitness expert and we will unbox, test, and rate the latest and greatest fitness gear to determine if it is indeed MH Strong.
Let's go over a few of the basics. So Blaze Pods comes with 6 different pods and 1 charging pod, as well in the carrying case with a micro USB charger. Each pod would light up. You choose the setting that you want it to light up. It could be random, it can be all together. You change the stimulus all depending on which type of workout that you want to do. If you want to really have that sort of kind of reaction training, or if you just want to have that sort of kind of back and forth training, like a sort of kind of like on a suicide basis type of training, just a sort of kind of fun cardio session for you at the end of your session.
Exactly, they're gonna run you $299 for the standard kit. They have a variety of other kits, and they also have a lot of attachments you can get. So Blaze Pods, in theory, start on the floor, but you can also tack them onto a boxing bag, you can tack them onto the wall, so you can challenge yourself in different ways. And it's all controlled through a super simple iOS app. From that app, you're gonna get a variety of programs. You can create your own programs. You can create a whole mix of workouts. You can literally click on a workout, choose how many Blaze Pods you want to activate. You don't need to use all 6 at a single time. And then instantly you're into a workout. The workouts can be as long as 10 minutes or as quick as 30 seconds if you just want to do a set.
Well, what I love about it is that it's fun. You know, it's different. It's not like your average day-to-day thing. You know, this is something, you know, that you can really have fun with it and be creative. You can do it in a group and you can do it by yourself as well. I feel like it would never get boring because you can always change it up, you can always switch it up, and it's not gonna only challenge you physically, but it's also gonna challenge you mentally when you're fatigued and you need to push past that mental fatigue as well. So you're also physical fatigue and you're mentally fatigued, and you still gotta think so that you can react in the proper time. So I like that a lot.
Yeah, I really like the idea of, again, when we do a standard workout, we're thinking about reps, we're thinking about sets, we're thinking about the pattern. But now you've introduced this ability to react, and just having that reactivity within your workout, having to think about which color, about where I'm tapping, about where I'm running to if we're doing some sort of sprint drill. All of that stuff has a ton of value in terms of building our reflexes, which I think is one thing we don't get from a lot of our training. So it fills in a blank in our training, and I think it also allows our training to get a little bit more versatile in terms of who can do it. I'm a very serious trainer, I know you are, and we like to do kind of the very traditional one-on-one muscle stuff. But when you get, say, a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old, you need them to have some fun, you need them to see a little bit of tech, and you need them to see something shiny, and Blaze Pods really covers that. So it's great, I think, for if you're trying to work with young athletes, or if you're trying to work with your son or daughter in the backyard, this is a great way to get them moving in coordinated patterns in athletic ways without necessarily having to bore them to death with patterns because suddenly they have to chase a color. And any gamification element, I think, makes training fun.
So more on just a conditioning, I think you can also do like a push-up challenge. You know, do the push-up, tap over where the light is, move over. It's just something that's a different stimulus, as well as, you know, running and tapping it and doing a burpee as well. That's something that you can add, just a different sort of kind of stimulus as well. You can do anywhere, just a sense of like, if you're doing let's say like a jumping jack or something, and as soon as that light goes off, you run into a new station and you do another exercise at that station, and then you go to the next one and you tap it and you do something there. Or sort of kind of just a partner training. You know, your partner goes and does a run and back and taps the light and comes back, you know, however you want to set it up, and you guys can just challenge each other, and just the sense of reaction times and things like that as well.
I think the competitive aspect that you bring up is what really makes BlazePod particularly interesting, because normally we get people into competitive situations in the gym. You're always pushing for that a little bit, but it's just about reps. But here, you and I could line up, we could line up our BlazePods, we could both set up and push a position, we could both do reps, and then we're chasing to tap our color quicker. And there's an evaluation. I think the fact too that you get stats at the end, that I can compare my reaction time to your reaction time after we've done, say, a 30-second bout of push-ups and trying to tap our color. I think all of that brings a little bit more competitiveness and a little bit of different competitiveness into the workout that I think is really, really worth having. I think too, you're always challenging, if you go back to your burpee example too, you always get to challenge change of direction. And that's something that in the gym, we have to be very, very thoughtful about. We have to include our skater lunges in our workouts. We have to include transverse plane exercises. And that doesn't always happen naturally. But if you just set up, if you stand in the center of BlazePods, you set those 6 up around you, and instantly one of them lights up and you have to run to a different spot, you're hitting a lot of things that you're simply not hitting in your traditional workouts. And it's super easy to set up, I think, too. One of the things I really like about BlazePods is the efficiency, right? Because what we're able to do, and what surprised me, is that I didn't need to spend 20 minutes pairing it or anything like that. They pair right out of the box with the app. So about 5 minutes in, I was able to give somebody a workout. So I'm able to set this up very quickly at the end of a standard strength session, so I get some work in.
Right, and it's easily accessible and it's easy to carry. You throw it right in your bag. It's like the size of a water bottle, so you can carry wherever you want. You can carry it in your hand like a size of a mini speaker.
Exactly, but a lot more useful to your workout than a mini speaker. Yeah.
So for me, what I don't like about it is just that personally, I believe it's just fancy. I'm an old school type of guy when it comes to things like this. I think reaction things you can do is with a tennis ball. You can do reaction things without somebody calling it to you, or just setting something up for yourself without spending that amount of money. I could do a lot with $2.99, you know? I can save about $250 and spend $50 on like tennis balls and other things that will allow me to get the same thing out of it as well. And is it needed? I don't think so. It's just another level up that you can probably, I don't think general population would need this.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is the responsiveness. Every so often, a BlazePod will not take your feedback, and that it's fine for me because I'm not necessarily marrying myself to winning a competition all the time. But for the young child who might be using this in their training, or somebody who's really there for the gamification aspect, when the BlazePod doesn't catch your signal, it feels a little bit dissatisfying and it ruins a little bit of the fun of the game. My only other issue with BlazePods is the app. I think it's a very solid app and they have a lot of options in there, but when you have this wealth of programs and you have this wealth of workouts, you have to explain them really, really well, especially if, say, a parent is going to get this for their child and they're not necessarily a trainer. And some of the drills in there aren't terrifically well explained. You have to kind of know what you're doing in order to really get the most out of BlazePods, and that doesn't make it as great, and it can take away from the fun factor unless you're working with somebody who really knows their way around it. So I wish the app had a little bit more clarity to it in terms of exactly what's supposed to happen in each workout.
Yeah, so you have to get a little bit more creative. Just knowing that if you're not able to, like you said, like a young child and their parent who probably isn't a trainer or anything like that, will have to get very creative and probably set something up, and you know they'll have to bring their imaginations very far and out, just so that their child can constantly get a different stimulus and not get tired or bored of the same thing all the time. Because if they're running at the same thing all the time, doing the same thing, it's probably going to get boring for them, and they're going to want to do something else. So. Definitely. In
full seriousness, when I use BlazePods, I kind of cheat the programs. I just choose a setting and then I tell whoever I want, or I know myself exactly what I'm trying to achieve, and I just tell them, hey, we're going to do push-ups and you're going to tap the pods, or we're going to do sprints and you're going to tap the pods. I don't really worry about the programs because they just aren't as great as I want them to be.
So I believe this is for, you know, someone like a sports and conditioning coach, you know, who has specifically maybe like for basketball, even football as well. If you're trying to teach your athletes change in direction and things like that as well, I think it's great for that. I think it's great for parents who as well know what they're doing. They probably have some sort of kind of background in just knowing how things like this work. They're very tech savvy and things like that as well for their kids, just to help them in the early ages of, you know, young sports and things like that, like AAU and stuff like that. So I think it'd be great for them to help start them on the path of, you know, building those great skills.
Yeah, I think it's really for a couple people. One of them, like you said, is the trainer. Anybody who's training little leaguers, if you're training youth athletes, you have a kit like this. It's a great way to end the workout after they've done all their hard working through plays, all their drills. It's like you let them have a little bit of fun because you've introduced a little bit of tech into the workout, and introducing that into a workout is never bad. The other person I think this is really for is kind of the tech savvy dad. Even if he isn't necessarily a fitness person, if you think about tech, one of the great things about Blaze Pods is that they feel like kind of that shiny new thing, both for the child who's working with them and for the dad who has to figure them out, who has to kind of learn the app, who has to pair them, who has to see them light up and figure out ways to be creative with them. I think if you give it to a creative father who wants to have, or any creative parent who wants to have fun with their kids, get them moving, it's going to instantly get them moving in a variety of different planes. It handles a lot of the gamification. It's a much more fun thing to do with your children than just go out and play a game of tag. It's way better than that.
Agreed.
I think the person who this isn't for is probably the ultra serious trainer. If you're in the gym to get explosion, then yes, maybe you can get something out of Blaze Pods. But if you're in the gym for, say, standard hypertrophy, or you just want classic conditioning, you really want to improve your capacity, this is not the kind of thing for you, because there's too much setup involved, there's too much slowdown involved, there's too much chance that, hey, your Blaze Pods might run out of batteries, and then you're not going to get the workout you want. So if you're a serious trainer, this probably isn't for you.
As well as just somebody who just, you know, like you said, just wants to get in and get these gains through the barbells and dumbbells and don't really care about cardio, you know, and doesn't have a problem with steady state cardio or interval training, something like that on a treadmill or a Stairmaster. So my MH Strong rating is a 3. I'll give this a 3 because it's not needed. We can create this in any setting without spending that amount of money at any point in time. That's my biggest feed for it, just the simple fact that we can create this anyway without this, without it looking so pretty and fancy.
It's definitely not needed, but I'm going to actually go the other way, and I'm going to give this a 7. And that's because tech is part of the way we can get people into fitness if they're not necessarily fitness heads. So this is a great way to expose somebody and gamify a workout experience, gamify a little bit of cardio, gamify a little bit of reactiveness, and it works. It works effectively and it works seamlessly. So for the tech person who wants to get into fitness, they want a real quick pairing experience, something they can keep charged, and something that's going to give them a workout in a matter of minutes. And yes, for me, in the gym, this is a little bit slow. But for that person who's just trying to set up for their kids or is just trying to set up for themselves and just wants to get that quick workout in, this is a really, really effective way to create some challenge. So I think it is I think it's a lot better than you're giving it credit for. I'll say this, if you want to have some fun, you want to go with Blaze Pods. If you want a serious workout, yeah, you can probably skip these and leave them at home.
Now that's our review of Blaze Pods. Let us know down in the comments what you think. Is this something that you'll buy or is it not? Let us know.